are living through a fundamental transformation in the way we work. Automation and thinking machines are replacing human tasks and jobs and changing the skills that organizations are looking for in their people. These momentous changes raise huge organizational talent and HR challenges. At a time when business leaders are already wrestling with unprecedented risk, disruption, and political and societal upheaval. In the upcoming Fireside chat on co creating EX for the new world of work, let's see what our experts have to share. I would like to invite Soumya Dubey, content producer, ETHR World, to lead the conversation with Amresh Singh, CHRO, GE South Asia. Over to you, Soumya.
Hi, Annie. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm super excited for this conversation with Amresh Singh, CHRO, GE South Asia. And Amresh, I think before we get into that exciting conversation, I would love to hear from you on how the employee experience looks like for the hybrid world of work.
Thanks, Soumya. So I'm very excited to be with you all today. And to your question, so what we need to see what we are experiencing, the speed of change we have seen, the speed of disruptions we have seen in recent times have been like never before. And as the corporations and the organizations battled with it, one thing we realized very closely that people are at the center stage, and people are the one who will remain to center of all our business strategies in future. COVID-19 and the events that followed put a lot of stress on the leadership. The leadership, as they were discovering on how to manage the whole situation, they also had to put immediately practices, policies, structures, and implement the same. And as they were doing it, there was a strong reflection that came that employees were asking questions. Employees were interacting more and more, and they needed different set of resolutions. So one size was not fitting all. So that's how it was moving. And the employee experience will be one key thing to deliver on your outcomes, to have a sustainable business in the future. Okay, and what we have looked into very recently, how to co-create that employee experience to build the future of work. We have looked at three broad elements of organization. How do we do at organization level to see that we leverage technology to engage employees, to enable employees. We build up a leadership mindset that helps in growth and agility. We build the employee engagement and employee experience in a way that they are able to learn, build a sense of belongingness in the system. So this is what we are looking at. This is what we are trying to drive in the new world of work.
Wow, that is great, Amresh. Thank you so much. And I just couldn't have agreed more on that people are the core of any disruption these days. And it's a beautiful line and a beautiful thought that you shared, that it is the core for the leadership as well. So that is something that really stands out. And thank you for sharing that. Great. And I'm seeing that you're pulling up. Oh, that's wonderful. We would love to know more on this as well.
Yeah, so this is what I talked about. Like co-creating an employee experience in the new world of work is about three dimensions: employee, leader, and organization. How do we engage with employees? How do we build up skills and mindsets for growth? And what we have looked at, redesigning engagement. We have looked at upskilling. On the leader level interventions, we have looked at new dimensions of leadership. We have looked at culture interventions. On the organization level, how do we leverage data and technology to build a better employee experience, to build collaborations in the teams, and building more personalization using data and technology.
That's pretty intriguing to know. Thank you for highlighting that, Amresh. That really helps us. And I'm sure our audience has taken down these points. Don't worry, the slide is up for you. You can actually take it down and use it in your own particular organizations. So thank you so much for that, Amresh. This definitely brings me to a couple of questions, and I'll go one by one on them. Just kickstarting with one of them, that how is an organization like GE looking at hybrid working, as you have a very diverse set of functions and businesses? What are some of the common principles in leadership development and employee experience that you're adopting? So we would love to hear on that.
Yeah, so before we go into the question, let's look at who are the players. There are two players into it, employees and the leaders. And what are employees looking at today? They're looking at trust, they're looking at learning, they're looking at social connect. And what are leaders grappling with today? Hybrid teams, stress, fatigue, employee questions, disruptions. So this is what is happening. And these are two different teams, employees and people leaders. So to address this, what we will need to do, and all organizations will need to do, is build a leadership mindset. Build a leadership mindset, change it, build a new mindset which focuses on growth, which focuses on inclusion, which focuses on agility in addition to the enterprise mindset. So there are new leadership mindset that comes into play. And therefore, this will be the differentiator of for the future. There will be, so as we look at, no, you talked about functions and business. We have different functions, we have different business. You're very right. One size will not fit all. Okay. And employees are asking also for different kind of solutions. So what are we going to do? We will still need, since we are big corporation, we will still need to look at some framework which joins them, but allows that independence in the business. Okay. And they are like, we have built a common framework around the dysfunctions of a team, the trust and the conflict. How do we address them? The accountability, the commitments. That's how we are addressing this. But yes, to your point, there will be things which will remain in business and functions. So everything is not going to be one size fits all. And that has been a big ask by the employees as we have managed through these tough times. Thank you so much.
Great. I think that really sets the context in a very clear sense. Just while you started saying that your employees are the core of everything that you look at, and what your employees are looking for is something that's very important for the leaders to address. And that does bring me to another question, Amrish, that, for an organization as a scale of that GE operates on, how do you remain employee-centric? And, how are you using technology and data to personalize the employee experiences? Would be a great learning.
Thanks. I think this is the most important question in recent times. And the most important subject you have to touch, that is technology. So let's understand this first. Technology will be the key differentiator in engaging employee and bringing a very personalized experience to employees. And I just want to put a context. When we put benefits for employees, so we have a system of flexing the benefits. We will need to use similar thing to flex the employee experience using data. And what I mean is this. We will need to capture all inputs from every source that employees are sending to us. All the informations and all the inputs they are sending. And that will be around what is energizing them, what is making them have success, what are they looking at for a greater interaction. So they keep sending inputs and we'll have to capture them. And then we'll need to build a how of addressing these inputs. And that has to be done with a lot of positive reinforcements around people leaders. At GE, our own performance management process we have, which is called People Performance and Growth, acts as a catalyst to build that positive reinforcement among the people leaders. It has that element of, it enables employees to build priorities, to get a connect, build their development plan, a regular connect. They put priorities, they put reviews. We also encourage people to do their own surveys on leadership behaviors. So they launch their own surveys and get a feedback on leadership behaviors. And all these pointers, the people leaders get that message. They then do a touch point. It's like a nudge theory, there's some nudging happening. And then the people leaders address that. This is what is creating that positive reinforcement in the system. The other way we look at is our engagement and culture survey is a way to capture our employees' voice. We do follow up on that. We do team touch points to see that all the factors with low scores get addressed in those smaller teams. It's not at like enterprise level, or we go to the smallest of teams where a manager has 5 reports or something. So that is helping to build that reinforcement of these team touch points following up feedback from employees. Our online learning platforms and tools help employees get a personalized learning experiences regularly. And we have our own collaborating platforms where employees collaborate, talk to each other, discuss with each other, and then deliver outcomes. So very holistically, that's how are we using technology and addressing this whole thing around the new world of work and the where we are in today. So this is helping. This is how we are using technology. Having said that, the key differentiator for all the organizations will remain this: how do we connect people? How do we use technology? How do we use that data in engaging employees, enabling employees?
That's amazing. And I think that's a very progressive approach, Amrish. And big congratulations on the way you are using technology and making so many advancements. I think that is quite an inspiration for all of us. And just getting a sense of this conversation that GE is a very mature organization in all their practices. The findings that you're sharing in this conversation are really inspirational, like I said. And that brings me to one more question, which is very, very pertinent to the leaders. And I'm sure the leaders who are listening to us today would want to know about it, that we are all navigating the great resignation era to the great reset. This is one of the challenges that is kind of really, waking up all the leaders. So I just want to know more that what roles, does upskilling play in maintaining the agility and keeping our teams engaged?
Yeah, good. And a question which is being often asked in recent times. And thanks for asking this. Now, upskilling, what upskilling is? There are 2 words: reskilling, upskilling. Reskill is adding new skill. Upskilling is like, I have a role. How do you add a few things on my role that I do my role at a higher level and a better level? And where it comes from, when you talk about the great resignation, the great reset, the current disruptions have led the organizations to do put up structures which are very leaner, we have also seen that employees have been moving around there, so they are leaving organizations, and the organizations are also doing a reset. In this whole process, what is happening? There's someone moving out, and I'm coming to upskilling, and I'll remain on upskilling. There are people who are moving out, okay, and they move out, but the role per se, and even if you do a resizing, the role per se, the role disappears, but a lot of tenets of that role remains in the system, and they need to be like executed and done in the system. How do you do that? You will need people to do that. So that's where upskilling comes into picture. Upskilling is like you are future-proofing the organization. So whenever we see a disruption in future, we have already upskilled our employees to face that. No, a building organization resilience is the key through upskilling. So this is what is happening, and multi hats, having larger roles and responsibilities are becoming a norm. Now, upskilling is at an organization level. No, so a big organization like GE, multiple businesses and multiple functions. We cannot have one approach because this is very decentralized. This is not at a big corporate level or the conglomerate level. It is decentralized in the business, and it has to answer very specific business questions. So it has to remain business focused. As we reset the business in different businesses, upskilling will need to be part of that strategy. Now, how do we address the work in future? How do we address those gaps that will be in the system because someone has left the system? Now, we have also moved away from a very corporate academics to a very decentralized and very specific learnings. Few of the examples I can share what we've been doing, like we have launched initiatives like Drop Everything and Learn deal, which is employees are allowed and they are encouraged to find out that time in their whole work where they stop everything and they focus on their learning 2-3 hours. So that's how we are encouraging them to learn more and upskill themselves. They are learning academics. There are very few business specific initiatives which is for the future. I remember no, as COVID started, we had launched a program, All Ideas Matter, and we were asking employees, please give your suggestions. How do we manage that? We needed that. We needed everyone to join it. Employees started asking, how do we do trainings now? We want to know the product training. We still want to continue with that, which was more like with the physical presence. We took time out to create a platform. In a grid business, we created Upgrade. It's an online platform for all products. There are catalogs, there are learning sessions. You can just go in that platform and learn what you want to learn on the products. That's how we are doing upskilling. There are businesses who are resetting from new products to services. You need to, you're not going to hire new employees for services business. You will still need to use your same employees who are doing new products in Steam Power to do the services business. So this is how very business is specific, but it's moving business by business. It's just like has to be very decentralized. But to end, I would like to say that if you want to have a very resilient organization for the future, this will remain as one key factor for success in the future.
I think thank you so much for highlighting that. And in a way, I'm going to archive this point, Amresh. This is a very constructive approach rather than a very corrective one, I think. And that's the kind of maturity that your organization just emits. So it is beautiful to know that and my favorite line here is that upskilling is like you're future proofing the organization. I think that's a very a master statement made here, because there has been a lot of noise about upskilling, cross-skilling, reskilling, and we are still finding answers. So that really helps us. And now just kind of following the suit here, Amresh, that I'm picking up all those topics that are like the big burning questions for the fraternity. And that brings me to the next question for you. That mental health has actually continued to be an under-researched topic in India, and there is no shying away from this one. So I would love to know from you that what steps is GE taking to integrate the conversation on mental health into the culture and the way of the work.
Thanks for asking this. Employee well-being and mental wellness will remain a focus. But before we get into what GE does, let's understand this whole thing around mental wellness. Mental health, it will remain one very important aspect of how we'll manage the work, and promoting mental health will be a leadership responsibility. Now, as we discovered during the pandemic, the future of work will have mentally healthy thing in that, like it will be a key ingredient of the future of work, of being mentally healthy. As we remain productive, as we remain flexible, mentally healthy thing will be a key ingredient of future of work. Now, we need to understand where it comes from, the root cause of this. The root cause of this is stress, S-T-R-E-S-S. The word is stress. The workplace stress is the root cause of mental illness or not being a low level of mental well-being or something. But the whole concept comes from stress, and what induces stress in the organization? It's workload, it's feeling undervalued, it's long hours, it's poor sleep, it's poor job design, it's job security, it's loss of respect, not feeling respectful at the workplace. These are the factors which are causing stress. Okay, and to address this workplace stress, we need to build that mental wellness as a cultural imperative in our organization. And how we will need to do that, we'll need to address the work itself. Work itself, what I mean is we'll need to create good work that provides a sense of purpose, a challenge, and a sense of achievement to the employees. Once that is created, people enjoy doing that work. The stress gets addressed. We need to invest in the leadership to see that they provide a very resilient support to the people managers and equip the line managers. We also need to do one important thing. We'll need to grasp the nettle of unacceptable behaviors. We'll need to do that. These things done will address your mental wellness at the workplace and will help employee. It will enable them to seek help, feel safe. So that's what it does. So work itself and the leadership, what we do in the system, coming to your question, see, we have this leadership behaviors very well defined, ingrained in how we do the work. It's at all levels. Act with humility, lead with transparency, deliver with focus. These are three of our leadership behaviors that is ingrained in the system, and they help the way we do the work. The way we do the work in a good way, an exciting way, and create that excitement around the employees. So this is what is addressing the stress in the system. To integrate the mental health into our culture, we will need to see how we build the awareness, how we build the desire, how do we build the knowledge, and see that this is reinforced in the system. Our teams did a study very recently around a group of people, getting some data around it. What we found that the teams which are engaged, low engagement scores, and a team with high engagement scores. The teams with low engagement score have a low level of mental well-being and also low awareness of what is available in the system. Team with high level of engagement have a high level of mental wellness, and they are also aware of what is available in the system. There's a very direct correlation with the very recent survey we did 2 weeks back, and they came up. We need to see that we build mental wellness as one of the strong pillars as we drive diversity, as we drive accountability. This needs to be talked about, people need to be aware about, and we'll need to have a reinforcement in place to make it happen.
I think that's really amazing to know, and it is a very deep down concept that needs to be practiced. I don't think it can be only resolved by some conversations. I'm really happy to know.
We need to create those change champions.
Change
We need to have those change champions who are ready to take this
that
work
onus
and lead
to
it.
change.
Yes, we'll need
I
that.
think that's a beautiful idea, Amresh, and we need to create more change champions to see what we've been envisaging for so long, and that's just amazing. Thank you so much for highlighting that. Amresh, I really want to know that with each of your answers, all the insights that you are sharing, it's so much to learn from, and that really brings me to my last question for this exciting conversation. GE has led the way, in several cultural interventions in the past. And as we look at the 2020s and radically rethink our ways of working, and I think all of the leaders and all of the teams are doing that, what are some cultural interventions that you believe would give an edge to any organization? And I think this is going to be a prime takeaway for this session.
Thanks, Soumya, for asking this. Again, to answer this, what will help the organization to have an edge? I will again take you back to two things. Let's look at what are the major disruptions. What are the major forces of disruptions? Fatigue, stress, change in workforce dynamics, need for agile structures. Okay. Now, if these are the forces of disruption, what will give you a competitive edge is to build a trust, is to build sense of belongingness, is to see that there is a psychological safety in the system. And if you have to build this trust, sense of belongingness, and psychological safety into the system, you will have, and these are very directly correlated with a resilient organization. And I'm talking about resilient organization. So these things you need to build, and what the organization will need to do is, as we have discussed during last 20-25 minutes, focus on people. They will be key to your business strategy. You cannot have a business strategy outside people. Move away from one size fits all, build in a lot of flexibility. Use people leaders as the catalyst of the change. One important thing which I felt is important to bring it is to focus on self-efficacy. So there will be a group of people who have this thought and ability to do more, who are always positive. Build that group, get that group in to support you. Okay, they will set up that direction of the success. And when they are in the group, there will be like a lot of vicarious learning happen. People will learn from them. That will get transferred, and that's how the positivity will build in. Upskilling, future-proof the organization. Employee well-being, key element of your work now. And at the top of it all, get the technology, use it effectively. Not only get it, use it effectively for a very personalized employee experience. And that is what will set any organization for success in future.
Great. I think, thank you, Amrish. You've just summed up the day for us in a way. In all the ensuing sessions, we would be covering all these elements one after the other. But this conversation has definitely set the tone for the day. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed getting in this learning conversation, I would say, with you. There have been so many takeaways for the audience. So thank you so much.
I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I'm very happy to share with you my thoughts, and it's been quite engaging, and thanks for this opportunity.
Yes, the pleasure is all ours, everyone. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to see you on the other side for the next session now. So thank you. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much, Soumya. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for a detailed chat session. Thank you, Soumya, for bringing out the best from the conversation. Now let's move to another session, a quick update to explore the expo area for all the useful assets and videos shared by the partners at their respective booths.